Whether you're picking and grinning or just picking or just grinning, grab a drink, pull up a seat. It's time for Roots Music Rambler. Turn it up. All right, Frank. So guess who's got a new album coming out?
Oh, is there, can you narrow it down? Do I get a hint?
All right. My hint will be it's someone who has been on our show and someone who you would probably least expect would have a new album coming out.
Psycon.
There you go.
No way!
Psycon. I got an email from him a couple of days ago. Please join me in 2026 for new albums of my original songs. And so he says in the email, this is in his email newsletter. Let's see. And he's kind of, as you know, if you've listened to the episode, he's a little long-winded. He kind of goes on and on and on. But he says in here, the two events, I got to get to the point here. International Workers' Day 2026 will be the official release date for the latest solo album by George Mann, whose collaboration with Australian Mick Coates, blah, 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 folk albums, etc. But the name of the album, or I think, is Resist, Psycon's songs to keep our hearts strong and our spirits steady for the fight.
Oh.
So it's going to be, and he and George Mann did a joint CD celebrating his 80th birthday, which he talked about
right.
The episode where we interviewed him. But apparently a new album is coming next year in May Day 2026. There will be an album out with new Psycon songs on it. So I don't think it's a full Psycon album, but it's definitely for stuff. For someone who's 81 years old, he's still cranking shit out. That's pretty damn impressive.
No kidding. And what he was so great to talk to, even as long-winded as he is. I mean, oh my goodness. That was an enjoyable discussion. But that is crazy. And oh, wow, good for him. Like you said, 81 years old and still rocking out. That's awesome. As you're describing, like the name of the album and the subtitle, that is, like, if I remember anything besides the music, from Psycon, it is that how like passionate he is about, labor rights and unions and all that. So it is impressive that he is 81 years old and he's still fighting and resisting, and that should be an inspiration to all of us.
Well, and here's another little entry in this newsletter as I'm skimming it as we're talking here. On Labor Day, he says, I wouldn't blame you if you're slightly mystified by the title of the Labor Day entry in the Psycon's Songs series. Carla Gover and friends, Williams Branch is a hard place to find Psycon songs honoring strong Kentucky women.
Oh,
how about that? And he says in the newsletter, trust me, all will be explained in time. But Carla Gover was one of the performers at the Mountain Girl experience in Pikeville, Kentucky, where I went, and she was fantastic. She's kind of a traditional mountain musician and did a really good set there in Pikeville for that event. And so she and her friends are on this, CD doing Psycon songs that are celebrating strong Kentucky women. So he's got a couple of projects that are sort of, in the ether coming together next year. 81 years old, Psycon.
God bless.
And if you don't know who we're talking about, go back and listen to the Psycon episode and go find the album New Wood. And that's a really good Appalachian folk music from a guy from Massachusetts. But he was a very instrumental advocate and organizer in labor movements, and told a lot of those stories through his songs, did a lot for the coal miners and the working people. in Appalachia throughout the years. He lives in Asheville, North Carolina these days. Is semi-retired, but obviously still active in a lot of ways. And if you ever need to know anything about him, you can ask him. But you're going to need to sit down because he's going to tell you.
You're gonna need a couple of hours at least. Yes, for sure.
He's one of those guys where you're sitting there, 10 minutes into listening to him, go on about something, and you're like, I didn't expect this to last this long, but I'm fascinated. So just
Right.
keep going. He's one of those guys who's fun to talk to.
That's a
So,
perfect description. Yes.
there you go. Cy Khan, he's one of our favorite
Aw.
folk guys. Got more music.
Yeah. I'm
That's
so
good stuff.
happy to hear that.
Me too. Welcome to Roots Music Rambler. She's Frank,
And he's Falls.
and we're rambling on through the stories behind the music we love.
Yes, and today on the show we're doing something that we don't normally do, but of course there's good reason behind it, right? So we're going to chat with singer-songwriter and impressive picker Trey Hedrick. He is a multi-instrumentalist who's spent a lot of his early career playing for others, but he's about to finalize and release his first solo album.
That's right. We don't throw brand new artists out there very often, at least ones that aren't proven, have some songs out there on the streaming services and such. If we did that, we'd have to bring anyone with a guitar and a pulse on the show, and that's just prohibitive. But Trey is a known quantity from a musician standpoint. The 2 songs he has on Spotify when we're recording this, he'll probably have more by the time this comes out. But the 2 songs that he has out certainly show a lot of potential for him to blossom into that solo artist role. And we did a little extra validation too.
Yes, that is right. We were given a rare opportunity to hear the first round of masters from the recording sessions for his first album, and we're confident that his potential is going to prove itself to be a good indicator of music you're going to love. It is good stuff.
That it is. Trey calls himself a modern Appalachian singer-songwriter who blends Appalachian folk, Americana, and blue-collar country. When I called him out recently as a pick and the grinning choice, I think it was on the Ramona and the Holy Smokes episode, I said he reminded me of a young Ricky Skaggs. He's folk and country, but it's got some bluegrass influences and certainly that picking and grinning style that a lot of mountain pickers comes into play there too.
Definitely. And he hails from southeastern Ohio, which is very near northeast Kentucky and Huntington, West Virginia, where friends of the show, Corduroy Brown and Kindred Valley, are from. So we're really excited for his new album to come. It's supposed to drop. We've heard that it'll drop in early 2026.
Yes, they haven't announced the date yet, but we're pretty sure that'll be January, February-ish time frame. I'm sure he'll be rolling out more singles in the meantime, but we're going to share clips at least from at least 2 songs on the show today that no one has heard. So we got a little exclusive snippets coming. Not the full songs. We never play the full songs, but
Right.
little
It's still
snippets.
exciting.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then, of course, we'll have our normal pick and the grinning segment where we pick what's making us grin. And is our regular recommendation for music lately we've been picking stuff that hasn't been music, but whatever's making us grin, that we want you to know about.
That's right. We want to get to it, so let's take a quick break to hear from the fine sponsors that help make this show happen. When we come back, a brand new talent for you to get to know. Trey Hedrick is coming up on Roots Music Rambler.
Driving north toward Pinedale, leaving Colorado. I prefer the middle of nowhere, just feels more like home. This Appalachian boy has gone west, y'all might not get him back. Mountaineer dreams bigger here, loneliness twice as bad, and I'm only passing through.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. That is the debut single from the solo artist debut from Mr. Trey Hedrick. It's called Passing Through. And Trey, his very own self, joins us this week on Roots Music Rambler. Trey, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, we are tickled that you're here and real excited to talk about these new cuts and this new album. So Frank and I told everyone in the intro that we don't normally have brand new artists on the show, and your first album actually isn't even quite out yet, but you're also not exactly new to the music business. You've been playing with a lot of others until recently. Give us a little background of where you're coming from professionally as you transition into being a solo artist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, not to, burst your bubble about me being a professional for just under a year. I haven't done it professionally for that long, but I was kind of steeped in music, to be honest with you. My grandpa was in a traveling band, my grandma in that with him part of that time. Almost every person you talk to in my family has played music in some capacity. Um, and I've been around a lot of really good bands being from Southeast Ohio, in the Athens, Ohio area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the music scene there, but it's quite the place. And had the privilege of being able to kind of shadow and just, I think I was really their gopher when I was a kid, but this wonderful band from the, God, let's say 80s and 90s, they were really prevalent in that time, called the Rarely Heard. Not sure if you've heard of them. Kind of a play on the seldom seen a little bit. Some great musicians and family friends actually. So yeah, I got to follow them around really and just sell CDs here and there at bluegrass festivals for them. And I've had a guitar in my hand since I've been two, and around professional quality music, and better players than I deserved at that age. Since preteen. So
Nice.
Very nice. And when did writing your own songs and going out on your own as a solo artist happen? Was there a gradual convincing, a sudden epiphany? So, when did that transition start for you?
yeah, I'm going to answer this, and it's going to give you a lot more information on me than you probably want. Um, but I grew up in an area where, like a lot of Appalachia, there's a lot of people around that wish they got to do a lot more than they did. And I heard all those stories. And, I following a band around when I was a kid and kind of hearing their advice, you know, uh, guys, forgive me if you hear this, but it was kind of bad advice. It was like, you know, won't do it. Don't do this for a living. It's the worst. And they were great guys. Had a good time doing it, but there's not. It's exactly like this right now. There's not a ton of money in it. Especially in bluegrass. There's not a ton of money in bluegrass. As it gets modernized, it helps. But yeah, I had that advice from an early age, and I kind of just I was really focused on school. I'm a geologist. I'm a scientist in my straight job right now. Work for an engineering company, and I was always focused on that primarily, just getting through college. I'm the first person in my family to go to a university, and so and my dad, is heavy emphasis on, hey, you need to finish and take this serious. And honestly, Francesca, it was a year ago that I started writing songs. Um, just trying it and just, I'd always had ideas and things, hey, that would sound good in a song or really, and it's kind of part of my songwriting process right now, which is just coming up with melodies and, seeing if I can, um, in a way that my taste aligns with, attach words to it. So, and that's all kind of happened suddenly, really. I just got tired of being one of those people that I grew up around that was saying, hey, if I got to do this or if I got to do that. And I was like, I'm going to stop talking about this and I'm going to try it. And if I'm not good, no one has to hear it. So,
There you go. So you talked about Southeast Ohio, and it that is definitely part of Appalachia. I know mandolin and guitar are perhaps your primary instruments, and you mentioned some family members in there. But who is it that taught you how to play? Who put that guitar in your hand when you were 2 years old, and who do you credit for giving you that sort of early musical guidance and inspiration?
Great question. It's kind of a co-credit between my pap and my dad. Um, you know, kids I think look up to their grandparents, especially, from a younger age. And my grandpa was always an amazing singer and great fiddle player, great guitar player, and he really valued flat picking. It was his thing. He loved it and kind of more upbeat songs. And my dad, awesome guitar player as well. And, really he loved those ballads. So it's kind of yeah, who put the guitar in my hand. There's a picture of me when I was a kid, sitting with both of them. My dad's probably 20, and obviously my grandpa is what 20 years older than him, so not even you know, that old at all.
So you mentioned that your grandpa played fiddle. Was it always bluegrass and like country for you, or have
Yeah,
other genres influenced you as well?
yeah, it was mostly bluegrass music. He loved Merle Haggard. Chris Christopherson was his favorite songwriter. Uh,
Okay.
he loved Lefty Frizzell. A lot of that stuff was in our house, and he was covering those songs a lot.
Very nice. So I know almost all the men in your family have been involved in coal mining in some form or fashion. I'm from that part of the world too, and oftentimes music is kind of seen as a way out of not just the mines but the region. Go out and see the world, as they say. Back home, sometimes they'll say do something better with your life, even though there's not a thing worse or wrong with mining, but it's hard work and it comes with hard living as well. Was music a path out for you, or maybe does your family see it as a path out for you?
No, not at all. um, it was kind of in that same vein of, it's fun to do, it's an escape, it's really just kind of, you know, woven into our culture. I grew up on a farm, cattle farm. My grandpa had a cattle farm, so we were always working. And for me, it was more of a way to get out of working. You know, my grandma, she was uh, definitely the matriarch of the family, and what she said went. And when she wanted, to hear some music on a really hot day, who knows if she actually wanted to hear music? I'm sure she wanted to get her grandkids out of the heat. But that's kind of what it was for me.
Nice. Well, whether or not it's a way out, you've certainly put together some good songs and a dandy album out of the gate in your solo career. We want to dig into the songs and the album a little bit more when we come back, but we also want to hear more Trey Hedrick music. So let's go to break with Secrets, the new single from Trey Hedrick. This is Roots Music Rambler.
Don't raise them up like they used to. Oh, back in my day. Come quickly, summer, and go gently, fall. We douse depression, diurnal withdrawal. We were just kids that weren't plain to see fate that awaited and who we would be.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. That is a track called Go Gently Fall from Trey Hedrick. His new album is still baking in the oven. It's in post production. We expect that to come out after the first of the year. But Trey Hedrick himself joins us on the show this week. So, Trey, you've been writing and recording this first album. Frank and I were very generously given some pre master cuts to get a feel for your sound. But we want to hear from you first. What was your thought process going in to this first album, what does one set out to say when they're cutting that first one?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't really know if I had anything to say when I set myself to write songs. I just wanted to see if I could do it and write songs. And the more I got into it, the more I was like, all right, I think I have something to say here. Not that it's really a conceptual album, but there's definitely some yeah, I had some muses, and I had some you certainly had some influences on my writing, things that were happening to me right then, and things that I had happened to me, in the year to two before that, and really what I'm seeing in our culture, especially, as a musician from Appalachia. So
Yeah.
So you also landed Sean Sullivan to produce this record, and he's worked with people like Tyler Sturgill, Molly Tuttle, a whole bunch of other big names. So how did that connection come about, and what was he like to work with?
that's a great question. I'm so happy to talk about Sean. How that came about was I pestered him.
There you go.
You
I
gotta,
hope
you gotta, yeah, you have to persevere.
I hope he listens to this because he'll be like, yeah, I found him on Instagram. I really love the music that Sean has produced. Almost everything he's produced is, very high quality with musicians that just align with my taste and my values. And yeah, so I messaged him way more than I should have. No, it's not like I wasn't, creeping on it was a few times, and he's a busy guy and, tries to stay away from the socials, I think, as much as he can, and he read the message and, just like, "Hey, I'm not ignoring you. Sorry, I just am not on here a lot. Why don't you send me some acoustic versions of some of the songs?" And then, a couple weeks later, he messaged me back and he's like, "Hey, I think we got something here. Why don't what's your plan? When can you come?" And I was like, "Tomorrow. I can come tomorrow."
Yeah.
Uh, he's like, "Hold on, we gotta get." Yeah. I was just very, ambitious to get down there and do it. And yeah, what's it like working with Sean? Sean is the best. You know, there's a reason he does what he does at such a high level. You know, for my limited experience, but with all of the people that I was in the room with, that have been in all of the rooms, Sean is, definitely one of the best producers in Nashville. Some of that stuff coming out of his studio, the Tractor Shed, is just, premium, and great guy. He's such a warm and friendly guy, and he's originally from Cincinnati, so there's some Ohio connection there. And yeah, just a fantastic guy. I could talk this entire podcast about Sean.
That's good. Well, I'm really curious about the how the collaboration works. So, do you go to him with a vision and direction for the album of how you want it to sound, or do you take songs and you guys decide together? I would think, someone who's doing their first album, you've probably got a pretty good idea of what you want, but how do you go in and work with a producer like that who you might have the attitude of, I'm just going to do what he tells me to do, but how did that collaboration come together?
Yeah, that's a great question. And normally I would be that kind of person. I'm pretty amenable overall, and but with the music, I definitely had a sound I wanted to go for. A lot of things were inspiring me at that moment, and just to blend my upbringing and the influences I had. Because one thing a lot of people probably don't know about me is, I love R&B music and old soul type music, and my mom was really into that type of music, and that played really heavy influence on me. And then also, you know, that bluegrass. I kind of wanted to just. I didn't set out to be like I'm gonna make something, that no one is hearing, because it's such a impossible thing to do. But I wanted to do something that blended my influences from both sides of my upbringing. So I had an idea in mind of what I wanted to do, and then Sean was just very careful and deliberate with the type of questions that he asked me, and who from there, and me answering those questions with who we had in the room, and he's like, "Hey, what do you think with this song? What are some influences?" Because he was just hearing the acoustic track. He's
Mhm.
like, "What do you want this to sound like? Give me some references." And we did that for almost every song. He put in so much work and time and patience, just emailing back and forth, and we set up a band, and we kind of that's kind of when my proclivity to be amenable helped, because I just got in there and got out of the way, really. I mean, if I didn't like something, I said it, but I really don't even think that happened, to be honest. Um, that's my favorite thing in the world to do, is collaborate with other musicians, and if you get out of the way and suspend your ego, really cool things can happen. And for me, that resulted in some tracks that I'm really proud of. So,
Well, this is a great lead into our next question because, through this episode, we've heard some snippets of some of your songs that are going to be on the album. And now that you've been through the process, which ones are you like most excited about playing and sharing with the world?
ooh, great question. Yeah, I definitely have my favorites. I'm just at this point right now. You hear this, I think you hear this, not an earth shattering thing to say. I spent so much time with them. I'm really ready to I'm not going to say move on. I owe my music, promotion, and, um, everyone that collaborated, deserves me putting a really hard work into them. And obviously I'm not, completely sick of them, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, all right, take it. And let me move on to something different. But the ones that are kind of sticking with me, um, Sing Appalachia is one of my favorite songs. That one's deeply meaningful to me and my family. And just because we lost my grandma, and it was really a difficult time for everyone, especially in the way that you know, the way that she went, and she had cancer, and that's always a real ugly thing. And um, yeah, it was cathartic for kind of everyone in the family, really. And at the end of the song, there's there's something special in there too that's means a lot to my family and stuff. So um, that one, and then I really like Secrets a lot. That's probably my second one, I would say. I have this problem where I don't really love any of my songs. Those 2 are 2 that I'm like, "All right, I'm not telling my wife to turn it when it comes on," so.
That's good. That's good. Well, I know you mentioned that you've spent so much time with them that you're, kind of you're kind of at a point where like, well, I still gotta go play these songs a bunch, but you know, I'm used to them now. I wonder though, because the album obviously is not coming out until after the first of the years for what we've been told. I'm wondering, is the anticipation for that, for holding it in your hands and for getting out in front of crowds and playing it, knowing they can turn around and buy it from the merch table, is that palpable yet? I know you've been or you've scheduled some opening sets with the local honeys and the sawdusters. You're starting to get in front of wider audiences already, but I'm curious, as you look toward the holidays and maybe into 2026, are you confident? Are you scared? Are you uncertain? What do the next few months look like for you?
It's a great question. I don't know if I've really asked myself that. I mean, of course, I want my music to do well. It's something I'd be lying if I said it's something I didn't spend time thinking about. Um, I want it to reach as many people as I can. Is is the anticipation palpable? Definitely. I mean, for me, I don't, the way things are in 2025, you have to, do what will help you don't have to, but it's best if you do what's best for the music. And sometimes that's, some like a waterfall release strategy, do some singles. Um, but for me, I'd rather just release it all at once, but that's just not really realistic. So that's building some anticipation. Um, but that's why I love live music, because I can go out and, I'm so lucky to play with so many amazing musicians that, we could do the song differently every time live, exciting for us. You want to keep it similar enough to what people are going to hear, for people to stay interested in it. But, um, yeah, I guess I don't know. I haven't really thought about it that much. So
That's what we're here for, man. We gotta ask these questions.
Yeah, for sure. And, we've heard the album and we are pretty confident that you are going to be just fine. Okay. And let's make sure that our listeners, that the good people know where they can find your music, your show dates, and all that good stuff. So, where should people go on their interwebs to find you?
yeah. So Trey Hedrick Music on Instagram. That seems to be the number one platform for reaching musicians. I'm on all of them. As I've been advised. I don't spend a lot of time on those other ones myself, but yeah, really anywhere that you get music. And as far as streaming services, all of them really. Spotify, Apple, Bandcamp. Yeah.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Well, we're going to make sure that there are links to all those places in the show notes. Trey Hedrick, a couple singles on Spotify now, a few more coming. The new album expected in early 2026, and then the sky's the limit, man. Thank you so much for coming by and chatting with us. We can't wait to see where this takes you, dude.
Thank y'all very much for having me.
And we've got a surprise for everyone. We're going to go out with an exclusive track from the new album. This has never been played anywhere before, at least publicly. All the people in Trey's camp have heard it, of course, but this is its public podcast and online debut. This is the cut that he referred to, Sing Appalachia, and this is exclusive, never before heard outside the Trey Hedrick camp until now. A little taste of what's to come. Don't go away. The Pick and the Grinning segment's next. This is Roots Music Rambler.
Sometimes I dream of the holler to bathe in those waters of love. Red sky evening, the thunderheads bleeding, and mamma's wine on my lips.
How about that, Trey Hedrick? Man, it's been a while since I've been excited about an artist like this, because not that we have discovered him, but
Yeah.
we certainly are way in front of a lot of people on knowing who this kid is and how good he is. And of course, we did have the wonderful advantage Trey and his team shared the album for us before anybody's ever heard it. And that rarely happens. And you're just going to need to bookmark this and make sure you check out Trey Hedrick's stuff when it does come out, because it is good and we like him a lot. And I'm pumped for him. It's going to be good.
And if you like banjo as much as I do, you will definitely like this album. Very prominent, but not like
Yep.
too much. The banjo is prominent, but it's not overwhelming. And I know, go ahead, crack your banjo jokes, whatever. But I definitely appreciated it, and it was like refreshing to hear it. And I'm truly excited for this album.
Yeah. And he's got a couple. So there's one song I remember. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's one song where I'm sitting there listening and the song starts and I'm like, that's a saxophone and a piano. What the hell's going on here? So like those rhythm
I
and
know.
blues kind of
Yes,
influences come in there too. So
for
it's
sure.
a nice eclectic mix of stuff. It's just I'm excited for him. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right, it's time for the Pick and the Grinning segment. Besides Trey Hedrick's stuff that you can't hear yet, we're going to tell you stuff that's making us that we've picked that has made us grin. That's kind of what that thing means, you know.
A little bit.
I feel the need to explain it sometimes. When I'm introducing the Pick and the Grinning segment, sometimes I envision a 3-year-old picking his nose. I don't know why, but
And grinning.
and then grinning. That's not what we're doing here. We're sharing things that we've picked out that make us grin. Normally, a song or an artist or an album. We've shared some podcasts, some TV shows, and things like that. So it's just recommendations for you to go out and consume something else that we think will make you grin too, whether you're picking your nose or not. Doesn't matter.
It's up
All
to
right.
you.
So I believe, at least as we record these episodes, the last time I went first. So I am going to do the take turn thing. And Frank, what's your picking the grinning for this week?
Well, this one is gonna be totally different, and it's one that is bound to make Tom happy, okay? Like you
Oh no.
mentioned. Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious about this. So, actually, Tom introduced my son Anthony to this band, and now it's, like, Anthony's favorite band, and I guess we're getting tickets for Tom and Anthony to go see this band when they come to Chicago next year. Um, so the band I'm talking about is called Sabaton. They're a metal band from Sweden. And if you know anything about me and my, my travel, my passion for travel, you should know that Sweden is my favorite country in the world. And I mean, as soon as I hear that like someone or this band is from Sweden, I'm like, my little antennae go up and I'm interested. But then it gets even better, like totally geeking out here, right? Um, their songs are based not all of them, but like their latest album called Legends is based on, like, historical figures. So, I mean, like, total nerd stuff, and
Hmm.
I'm here for it, you know?
Okay.
Um, so the one song that, really stands out, and I think it's probably if anybody's listening and knows Sabaton well, they probably know this song, it's called Primo Victoria, and it's like when we were listening to it, I said, "This would be a great song for, like, a hockey team to come out on the ice to." Like, like I remember when my brother was playing travel hockey, on his AAA team, their song that they came out on the ice to was Rusty Cage by Soundgarden. And
Okay.
like, like everybody would get fired up and I could totally see the same thing happening with this song. But yeah, it's just like Swedish, you know, songs, history, like, yes, sign me up. Sabaton.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna play something in my ear. You probably won't be able to hear it. I'm playing something in my ear, so I know what Sabaton sounds like. It's one of those long intro things where there's
Mm.
bells in the background, so it'll probably blow my ears off here in a minute. But anyway, all right, it's good. Sabaton. Yep, there we go. That's loud. Okay. All right, pause. I'll follow up with that a little bit later, but we'll put links. We'll put links to. We always put links to our picking the grinning folks in the show notes. So if you're ever wondering if we've picked your band, or if we've picked your nose, or if we've what we have picked, that's always in links in the show notes. You can tell we're getting late here on the recording.
Yeah, get
All
punchy.
right, Sabaton. That's good. That's good stuff. I'm glad we're pleasing Tom with something. So maybe he'll take a week off from texting me suggestions. I'm just kidding, Tom. I love your suggestion. All right. So
What you got?
my pick in the grinning this week is a band that's actually playing in Frankfort, Kentucky. I think in like a day or two, maybe tomorrow.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it to the show, but it's a band called Damn Tall Buildings. And Damn Tall Buildings is a folk bluegrass band based in Brooklyn, New York. So
of course.
my hillbilly antenna go up and like, what the hell? That's bullshit. You can't have no bluegrass folk in Brooklyn, New York.
New
They're actually
York
pretty fucking
City.
good. They're actually pretty fucking good. I've been listening to them thinking I might be able to escape and get over to this show. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to the show to see them live, even though they're playing 45 minutes for me. And I'm disappointed because I've been listening to them for the last week or so, and I really like it. Max Capistron, Sasha Dubik, and Avery Bellata are the trio. They are seasoned musicians, fiddle, guitar, bass arrangements, and they're just really good. It's one of those bands that has kind of a updated modern bluegrass sound. They mix a little bit of genres in there. They write good songs. They play great. And Damn Tall Buildings is definitely worth a listen. And quite frankly, I'm just going to put it out there that they're going to be on the show at some point. We're gonna make that happen. So Damn
Yes.
Tall Buildings. We'll have links to them in the show notes, as well as Sabaton, which is the first time in human history that Damn Tall Buildings and Sabaton have been mentioned in the same sentence. So
Probably.
that's what you get here on Roots Music Rambler. We just put it all in there and mix it up, and it's all fun.
It's like a box of chocolates, right? You
It
never
is.
know what you're gonna get.
And if you get the wrong box of chocolates, you're gonna have the shits for a week.
And then there's that.
And then there's that. All right. This is half gone and will be full gone in about 3 minutes when I hit the record stop button. So it's time for us to go.
Yeah, we gotta go before
Roots
things
Music
get messy.
Rambler is a production of Falls and Partners, copyright 2025. Our theme music is Sheepskin and Beeswax by Gentacorum. I read really well when I'm drinking. Join us online at rootsmusicrambler.com and make sure you mash that subscribe or follow button so you remember to join us for the next Hoedown and Throwdown. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
And whatever you do, kids, ramble on.